Hello and welcome back to a new video on my channel. I am finally on my very first star party. So I am right now at the International Telescope meeting Vogelsberg. So yesterday I uploaded a video that I tried to be on this telescope meeting because the weather conditions were not that good. But right now it seems like the conditions will be perfect for tonight. So right now there are no clouds. So this is my very first night on a star party. After talking to other astrophotographers, I finally decided to set up my own equipment. So right now you can see me setting up my own equipment at the place where I plan to do my deep sky astrophotography session for that night. So first of all I had to attach the cable. So right now you can see me attaching the cable for the guiding camera. So I've connected the CWO ASI 120mm mini mono guiding cam to the CWO ASI Air Pro. And furthermore you can see the blue cable, which is the cable I use for controlling the entire mount. So as you can see, I have attached a dew heater to my telescope because I've talked to other astrophotographers and they said that it is definitely necessary in that night. So therefore I've attached the dew heater to my telescope because that was very important for me in that night. So the next thing I have to do is to attach the cable for the camera so that I can control the camera with the CWO ASI Air Pro. So as you can see, I've brought the Canon EOS 60A with me, which is an astro-modified DSLR camera. So as you can see, I brought a very portable setup with me, but that was very important for me. So this is the setup I've used on the International Telescope meeting Vogelsberg. So in this case, the guiding system is not necessary, but still I plan to use it in order to achieve perfect stars in the end. So this is the setup I plan to use for this astrophotography session. So my setup is now ready for tonight's astrophotography session. So I'm definitely very excited for the night because there will be less light pollution. So I'm very excited, so see you tomorrow. So I am already home from the International Telescope meeting Vogelsberg. And as you can see, I've captured a few images of my setup, and in the back you can see the Milky Way. So there were no clouds almost all night long. So in the beginning there were a few clouds, but still I managed to capture a few images in that night. So in the beginning I was not that sure which objects I planned to capture, but in the end I planned to capture the North American Nebula. So I've captured this object a few years ago with my lens. So back then I've used the 75 to 300mm lens, therefore I definitely plan to capture this object once again with my new setup. So now I would like to introduce the equipment a bit, and I would like to talk a bit about the telescope meeting in total, and a bit about the problems I had that night, and a bit about the telescope meeting in general. So first of all I would like to talk about the equipment. So I've used the HEQ5 Pro go-to mount. So I've been using this mount over the past few years, and it's definitely a very good mount for deep sky astrophotography. On the top I've attached my telescope, which is the Askar SQA55, and at the back of this telescope I've attached the Canon EOS 60A. So it's an astro-modified DSLR camera. On top I've attached my guiding system, so I've used a 60mm guide scope, and at the back of the guide scope I've used the CWO ASI 120mm mini mono guiding cam. So in this case it's not necessary to use a guiding system because the focal length is relatively short, but still it was important for me to use a guiding system because I plan to capture amazing images of the night sky. So here at the front you can see my Astro computer. So I've used the CWO ASI Air Pro for controlling the entire deep sky astrophotography setup, and that worked relatively good. So this is actually the entire deep sky astrophotography setup I've used for that night. So unfortunately this adapter didn't work according to plan, but still this night was very successful. So much said about the equipment I've used for that night. So something I would like to mention about this star party is that it was an amazing night under the night sky. So usually I do astrophotography from my backyard, so there were so many other telescopes out there, and it was pretty amazing seeing all of those telescopes because they were very big telescopes and very big Dobsonian telescopes. So it was definitely amazing talking to other astrophotographers and seeing the equipment they have used for astrophotography and furthermore for visual observation. So there were so many amazing telescopes that I've never seen before, so only on images. So in total this night was definitely amazing for me because I was able to talk to other astrophotographers about the hobby and about equipment and different things about this hobby. So as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I was able to do a bit of deep sky astrophotography that night. So now I would like to show you the image I've captured in that night. So I've already stacked a few images, and this is the image I've captured in that night. So this is not the final image, so I just stacked the images and stretched the image a bit in order to see a few structures in that image. So this is not the final image, but still you can already see a few structures in that object. So as you can see, I've captured the North American Nebula. So in the beginning I was not sure which object I would like to capture, but that night I definitely planned to capture an object that is relatively high in the night sky, and therefore I plan to capture this object. Furthermore, I plan to capture a very big object in the night sky because I've used a wide field setup for astrophotography. So I've used a telescope with a focal length of under 300 millimeters, and furthermore I've used a full frame camera. So this was definitely the perfect object for that night. So right there you can see the North American Nebula. So this image has a total exposure time of 3.5 hours, which is not a lot, but still you can see that I was able to reveal a few structures in that object. So in the next few weeks I definitely plan to collect even more exposure time. So the plan is to capture something between 10 and 20 hours of total exposure time. So right now in summer I'm not able to collect a lot of exposure time in one night. Therefore I definitely plan to capture this object over multiple nights, definitely. So this image is a stack of nearly 70 images. I've used a single exposure time of 3 minutes and an ISO value of 1600. So now I would like to take a closer look at the image because in this case I've used a full frame camera in combination with this telescope, and therefore it's very important to take a closer look at the corners of this image, because when using full frame cameras sometimes these stars do not look that good in the corners. So right now you can see that these stars do look very good in the corners. You can see that these stars are perfectly round even in the outermost regions of this image. So this corner looks perfect, and furthermore there is no chromatic aberration, so it looks very good, this image. So when looking at this region right there, you can see that these stars do look very good, so they are very round. So as you can see, these stars do look perfect in that corner as well. When looking at this region down below, you can see that these stars do look very good in this corner as well. So definitely this telescope performs perfect when using it in combination with a full frame camera. So last time I've used this telescope, the stars in that region were not that good. In that night, I still had a few problems with this region, but still the stars do look better compared to the last time. So we can see that the stars do look relatively good, so they are nearly perfectly round, but still they are not perfectly round, you know. So I'm not 100% happy with these corners, but still you have to keep in mind that this image was captured in combination with a full frame camera. So definitely the image looks relatively good. So in the beginning I was not sure how I should capture this region of the night sky, but I decided to go for this area. So here you can see the North American Nebula, and here you can see a few structures as well. So there is more H alpha as well. So I definitely plan to capture more exposure time, and then I am definitely able to reveal more structures in that region right there. So this image definitely looks quite good, I guess. So in post-processing I still plan to reduce the star size, which should help me to capture a better image in total. So definitely I have to process this image again. So as I have mentioned, this is not the final image, so I just stacked the image and I've stretched the image a bit in order to take a closer look at the image in general. So I definitely plan to process the image later on once again. So this is the image I've captured in that night. So this is actually everything I've planned to mention so far. Furthermore, it's important to mention that I've used calibration frames in this case. So I've used the light frames, the dark frames, the flat frames, and bias frames. And these calibration frames help me to reduce noise in my image, and they help me to correct the image in order to achieve this image. So now I have to process the image again in order to make more structures visible. So this is actually everything I've planned to mention so far. Later that day I decided to process the image again and was able to create this picture. This image has a total exposure time of 3.5 hours and was captured with the Canon EOS 60A in combination with the Askar SQA55. For capturing this image I've used a single exposure time of 3 minutes and an ISO value of 1600. I am very happy with this image, but still I plan to collect even more exposure time in order to improve this image even further. So visiting the International Telescope meeting Vogelsberg was a very exciting experience, and I've met so many other astrophotographers, so I definitely plan to visit this star party again next year. If this video was interesting and helpful to you, I would really appreciate a like and a subscription. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, clear skies, Felix.